Welcome to the first edition of the Half Turn, where I will endeavor to entertain you for the next hour or so, and we will be talking about the beautiful game, football, soccer, fuchibol, calcio, all of those, as well as movies, manga, comics, whatever we want to dive into tonight. I'll be chatting with you about the first ever JLeague weekend that I've ever watched. And man, was that glorious, glorious weekend, early weekend. I'm talking about waking up at 5 a.m. Maybe, that's not too bad. People all over the world probably wake up at much earlier times. But I woke up at 5 a.m. to watch JLeague games. And they did not disappoint. The JLeague knew what it was doing with opening their weekend with Yokohama Marinos versus Kashima Antlers, the champions themselves, visiting Marinos. The second game that we'll talk about, Urawa Reds versus, is it Gamba Osaka? Now, for those of you who have been on this ride with me with previous shows, know that I love football. I love Man United. I love the Premier League. I love anything with the five big European leagues. Love me some calcio. Love Serie A with a passion. So why venture into the unknown? I'm already watching 5 leagues. I don't need another, right? But I had to. Why? Because I was lucky enough to see Japan versus the Netherlands at the World Cup at Dallas Stadium. What a hell of a game. What an explosive experience. Vamos Nippon is still stuck in my head. If you guys don't know what that is, just YouTube it, listen to it. It is the most infectious chant, I think, at the entire World Cup. And it was sad, incredibly sad, that it ended that early versus Brazil. The Japanese stole my heart, man. I am a Nippon fan for life. I will follow them in every competition from now on. Absolutely adore Japan. Adore their fans. I was surrounded by so many Japanese fans. Uh, such a great experience. So I needed more. I needed to understand more. Why are they so good? My interest had already peaked 2 summers ago at the Club World Cup with Urawa Red Diamonds. Their fans were immense. I didn't really watch a lot of that competition, but watching the little clips on Reels, on TikToks, their fans just were electric. And I thought, who are they? What is this club about? So throughout the months before the World Cup, I always kept them in mind. Didn't really watch any of the games yet, but I was fascinated. Not only that, but I love me some Japan. Absolutely have been a fan of Japan since I was a little kid, not with sports or soccer, but mostly with manga. You gotta love, your Dragon Ball Z. You gotta love any other anime that just stole your heart when you were a kid. You didn't have to twist my arm to take this deep dive. It was already there. All I needed was a push. And little did I know that the Japan versus Netherlands game would just completely change my life. Just I can't say enough. And like I said earlier, I needed more. So when I found out that the J League was starting in August along with all the other European leagues. I said, perfect. Show me when, show me where. First game of the season, Friday, 5 a.m. Perfect. Woke up, got ready. My poor wife had to deal with that. But it was a fantastic, fantastic experience. The first game on the board that we're going to talk about is Yokohama F. Marinos versus Kashima Antlers, the champions themselves. And then we're going to go to Gamba Osaka versus Urawa Red Diamonds themselves. And then we're just going to go into a little deeper dive into what happened the rest of the J League weekend. And I will be touching on one special club that just has one hell of an epic story that everyone should know about. So, starting off right off the bat, opening weekend, the Eternal Derby. Yokohama F. Marinos versus Kashima Antlers. And the theme of this weekend is drama. My goodness, these two games just delivered with drama. Kashima Antlers, the reigning champions, visiting Yokohama F. Marinos. And let me tell you, Marinos came out swinging. They were hitting. They were letting the champions know that they were going to be in for a fight for their lives if they wanted to get a point out of this game. The game started, a little bit of madness, both teams having trouble settling, but Kashima Antlers wrestled the ball back, and slowly but surely, they started showing their dominance. A player in particular that stands out like a sore thumb is Yuma Suzuki from Kashima Antlers. This guy is a powerhouse. He's tall, he's big, he's powerful, and last season, from my understanding, he was one of the great pillars of this team that pushed them to the title. I was very, very excited to watch him play. Unfortunately, he had just the most awful first half. Nothing was happening for this guy. The ball was bouncing off of him. They stole the ball away from him. And in one of those, it led to Marinos' first goal. Now, the goal that came from Marinos' right side was a great worked goal. But the reason why it was so special is because Shin Midera, and I'm really sorry if I'm butchering these names, but Shin Midera, 16 years old, finishes off the move. Yokohama hit quickly after they regained possession. It honestly came out of nowhere. They were just having such a hard time establishing any type of rhythm. You could tell that they were going to go ahead and try to hit on the break, but this move just not what I was expecting. They get the ball in the box from the right side. They do a little cross, and there's Midera to push it in 1-0. Just one hell of a sucker punch against the champions. 1-0 for Marinos. And just a few minutes later, Antlers would respond. Great, great set piece from the left. Beautiful cross in. Just the replay alone in itself, you see the curvature of the ball just land exactly where it needed to go. Just gets pushed right in by Leo Pereira in the 11th minute. Fantastic equalizer. In the 18th minute, Yokohama again. Kaina Tanimura. Brilliant, brilliant moment from the 16-year-old kid. It was a long ball from his center half on the left side, and his touch, he brings it out of the sky. but doesn't set it down. He flicks it over his center back that's marking him. 16 years old. The imagination to do that at 16 years old against the champions is insane. Just a beautiful, magical moment. The stuff that we can only dream about. Lays it off to a teammate. That teammate, first time, sends it in, sends in the cross, connects it with the forward. The forward, just an impeccable touch to just guide it past the keeper into the far corner. 2-1 in the second half. Kaina Tanimura again. Yokohama presses, wins the ball high. They work it into the box. Boom. 3-1. I'm thinking this is just horrible for the champions. Getting punched out like that in your opening game, defending the title. I know you're away. I know you're at your rival's house, but to lose or to be losing in that fashion, oh, that's got to hurt. Yokohama, they look in complete control. Yuma Suzuki just nowhere. Just not having a game at all. I'm thinking, get this guy off the pitch. He's having a nightmare of a game. But it looked like Kashima Antlers were just done. And then, in the last 10 minutes, the most insane 10 minutes of football that I've seen in a very long time. Leo Pereira, in the 81st minute for Kashima Antlers, Suzuki, Yuma Suzuki, having a nightmare of a game, heads the ball, hits the post, but Pereira's there for the rebound, and all of a sudden, it's 3-2 with 10 minutes to go. And now you're thinking, can Marinos hold on? Can they hold back the champions? In the 85th minute, disallowed goal by Kashima Antlers. VAR called it back. It was another Suzuki header. It hit the post, another rebound, 3-3, and it just looked like he was offside. And sure enough, VAR called it back, but they answered. They're saying, we're not done yet. Suzuki is saying, I've had the most horrible game, and you know what? I'm still going to freaking punch you in the face. In stoppage time, Suzuki with another chance. He's in the box. He shoots, saved by the keeper, but only the slightest touch from the defender's hand on the ball. VAR called the pen, and the substitute, coverage, buries it. 3-3. But we're in stoppage time. There's still 5 minutes left. It was 11 minutes of stoppage time. It's 3-3. And in the last minute of stoppage time, coverage again, alone in the box, has the option to pass it to a teammate. He goes for it by himself, nutmegs the keeper, 4-3, and that's it. 4-3. Kashima Antlers smash and grab the first game of the season. Not only do they get the 3 points, but they get it against Yokohama F. Marinos. But the way they did it, they said, here's some hope, and then we're just going to take it all of it right back. Fantastic win for Kashima Antlers. I felt so bad for Marinos. But at the end of the day, that's football. You got to hold on. You got to win. And Marinos could not do it. They lose at their home stadium 4-3. What the hell did I just watch? What a game. Little did I know what to expect in the second. Welcome back. Thank you for joining me again for the second game of JLeague that I've ever seen. This time we got Gamba Osaka versus my new team, Urawa Red Diamonds. This one is the national derby. Gamba Osaka is at home. Urawa would score first. In the first half, in the 17th minute, Hiro Koromi, just a textbook standing header. Brilliant cross comes in. The forward creates separation from the center back. They're both heading in the same direction. Just a good arm's length space between him and his defender. Just a strong header. Looks easy. Obviously, it's a lot harder, but he buries it 1-0. Urawa goes ahead versus Gamba Osaka. In the 22nd minute, though, this is where Urawa really just had some bad luck. Mateus Savio gets the red card. What happened? Well, there was a hard challenge. Not even from him. It was just a teammate. It was the aftermath. There was a lot of talking to one another after the challenge. Savio sees that his teammate is being challenged. Savio comes rushing in, pushes the Gamba Osaka player down to the ground, just knocks him down. The ref, dealing with the aftermath, gives the yellow card for the initial challenge, and then, after a brief conversation with his linesman, goes over to Savio, shows him the red. I mean, we've seen cards throughout the World Cup tournament. This one just came out of the blue. I was not expecting it. But then again, I don't have any experience with Japanese refereeing. I didn't know what to expect, but there were a lot of reds this weekend. From what I could tell, they were not going to stand for any of it. Savio, just bad luck, in my opinion, because how many times have we seen teammates run over to defend one another? They get a little pushy, they get a little shovey, but never given a straight red. But that came out of nowhere. Red card for Urawa Red Diamonds. 1-0 up, down to 10 men. And it didn't take long for Gamba Osaka to capitalize. In the 36th minute, Isam Jebali, just a great goal, great finish. He brings the ball down with his chest, just slots it right past the keeper. 1-1. They go ahead, they look at it at VAR, possible offside, but nope, he was okay. And then after that, not long again, in stoppage time, Dennis Hammett, just a thunderous shot from outside of the box. 2-1, Gamba Osaka. In the second half, I'm thinking, well, Urawa are down to 10 men. Surely they're going to have to just tidy up on the back, try and keep it as clean as possible, not let any more goals. It seems like conventional wisdom is nowhere to be seen this weekend. And Urawa showing heart, showing passion, showing that even though they're down to 10 men, that doesn't mean squat. In the 78th minute, Takuro Kaneko puts the game at 2-2 with a tremendous diving header. Just the passion to beat his defender first, Cross comes in from the right and literally diving headfirst to meet the ball before his defender could arrive. 2-2. Just one of the best goals that I saw all weekend. The determination to get there, to beat his man, the technique to meet the ball in the air while diving for it. Fantastic. Golazo. 10 out of 10. And you're thinking, okay, it's 2-2. Surely now they're going to fall back and defend and try and get this point. But no, Urawa would score one more in the 80th minute. Harumi Minamino this time. Urawa get it into the box. Just classic cutback. Minamino finishes it for the 3-2. And I'm thinking, Urawa are down to 10 men? What is going on? Surely now they're going to fall back and defend this lead. And that's exactly what kind of happened. And I say kind of because Gamba Osaka literally just woke up from whatever stupor they were in and realized, oh, we just have to play again. We just have to do what we were doing to begin with. And that's exactly what they did. Within minutes, Gamba in the 84th minute scores. Welton Felipe ties it up 3-3. And then in the 86th minute, Asahi Uenaka will take it for the 4-3. Gamba Osaka end up winning. Just one hell of a surprising game. Both games finished 4-3. Spectacular. 7 goals each. I mean, talk about derby madness. Savio completely loses his head with the red card. Urawa down to 10 men, but they still come back and make a game of it. Just the most spectacular diving header that I've seen in a very, very long time. You know, Minamino finishing it off and Gamba having the intelligence to just say, hey, you know what? This happens. There's still plenty of time. No need to panic. We're at home. We have 11 men. Let's get back to business. And sure enough, 4-3. Fantastic game. Fantastic result. We'll be right back. Guys, welcome back. Right now, we're going to talk about one more game before we get into the rest of the results for the weekend in the JLeague. I want to talk about a team called Machida Zelvia. Never heard of them in my entire life. But after yesterday, this was the Saturday morning game. After yesterday, I'm going to be watching their games. One hell of a history, this club. Mashida's story is fascinating. They battle for years to get to the top flight, consistently getting promotion to J2 or J1, but being knocked back because their stadium just was not big enough. They did not have the facilities to keep going up the Japanese pyramid. And eventually, they would make it. They would get it to J1. But get this, their coach never coached professionally in his entire career. Machida Selvia said, let's give this high school coach a chance. This high school coach takes them from J2 to J1 to third place in J1, which is just the top flight JLeague. Just a fairy tale story Just fantastic. I would recommend anybody, if you're looking for a club to follow, Machida Selvia sounds like one for anybody to just watch them play. And they play really well. In the first half, though, they start off losing. They're playing FC Tokyo. FC Tokyo are at home. In the 5th minute, Marcelo Ryan gives FC Tokyo the lead 1-0. But in the 27th minute, Michel Duke makes it 1-1 with a strong header. Man, Japan giving us really, really big headers. But this is where the big break would happen for Machida. In the 38th minute, Kento Hashimoto from FC Tokyo would get a red card. There's another red card in this game, too. Nasty sliding tackle. Looks like he tries to pull out of the tackle at the last minute, but he can't. He's sliding, can't stop his momentum. His leg is already up in the air. It hits the Machida Selvia player right in the shin. Dangerous play. Red card. FC Tokyo down to 10 men. In the 45th minute, Takahiro Akimoto would push Machida Selvia into the lead 2-1. Now, again, conventional wisdom, you're up 2-1. The other team is down to 10 men. Take it easy. You got this game in the bag. Not too much to do. Was I just wrong? Looks like that's not this team's style at all. And in the second half, punishment is too light of a word. This was not only dominance, but it was a message. It was a message to FC Tokyo. It was a message to JLeague itself. We're here. We're here to stay. And we're going to punish you when we can. In the 51st minute, Yuki Soma. Beautiful low free kick. Keeper gets a hand to it. It's too strong, though. Too much power. 3-1. And again, you're thinking, 3-1. You got this game in the bag now. Get out of fourth gear. Just come back down to third or second. You're gonna go ahead and win this game. The game's in the bag. Stop pushing. There's no need. But it looks like that's not what the message was from the coach. In the 65th minute, Tete Yengi would make it 4-1 for Machida. And then in the 80th minute, Daihachi Okamura from a corner makes it 5-1. Talk about just ruthlessness. You would think to yourself, hey man, we got this. 3-1, 4-1, we can just calm down. Nah, not Machida. Not their coach. 5-1. Went into FC Tokyo's home and said, nah, we'll take 5. Well, there were many other games this weekend from the JLeague, and the following are the scorelines. Nagoya versus Shimizu S-Pulse. S-Pulse takes it 1-0. Avispa Fukuoka versus Vissel Kobe. This is the other one that I wanted to watch. Unfortunately, they did not have it. By the way, just so you all know, because I completely forgot to mention it, and I apologize for it. If you want to watch J1 and you don't have where you're thinking, well, I don't have a VPN, I can't, access Japanese DAZN. Uh, Guys, it's on YouTube, regular YouTube. You can watch from the J League International channel, and it looks like they put one or two games for the weekend so that you can watch and enjoy for free. The next game, Kashiwa Reysol versus Mito Hollyhock. Kashiwa takes it 2-1. Cerezo Osaka versus Okoyama. Cerezo takes it 2-1. Sanfrecce or Sanfries, I don't know how to pronounce that. I am so sorry. Versus JEF United. Sanfries would take it 3-0. Tokyo Verdy versus Kawasaki. They drew 1-1. And V Varen Nagasaki versus Kyoto Sanga. Nagasaki takes it 2-1. So brilliant weekend this weekend. Brilliant. I mean, I couldn't have asked for more. I'm thinking to myself, I'm going to watch and try to enjoy as much as possible. I don't know who the players are. All I know is that the Japanese game has risen to a very, very good level. I grew up watching pretty much just La Liga MX. Before it was La Liga MX, it was just, the Mexican league. Uh, they had wonderful players. It was what it was at the time. To be honest with you, I haven't watched that since uh, the European game just kicked down the doors for me personally, and I just never looked back. And because of that, I've only ever really watched since I was 18. I've only ever really watched the European leagues, the big European leagues. The Premier League, the Bundesliga, Serie A, a little bit of Ligue 1, but a little bit of Eredivisie, obviously the Champions League, um, but you get to see these Japanese players that make it to the big time in Europe, and I love them. I mean, Daichi Kamada. I learned of Sano this World Cup, who I look forward to watching. Looks like he's still at Mainz in Germany. Uh, the one that broke my heart that I'm so sad that I didn't get to see him because he got that injury at the last moment. Mitoma, God, he would have been spectacular. He would have helped Japan so much. In the same way that I think that Yuma Suzuki would have probably helped, but he just was not called up. Looks like there was a lot of controversy between him and the coach. I guess they just didn't like each other very much. Um, that's a shame because I think he would have been a great substitute to use. You need a goal. He just showed it this weekend. He can have a terrible, terrible game, and then in the last 10 minutes, just change for the better. um, this weekend, the red cards, that was something that really brought a lot of attention because yes, um, the sliding tackle, for instance, in the game that we just talked about, in Machida, yeah, that's a red. You see the sliding tackle and you think to yourself, yeah, that's a red card. No controversy there. Savio's red card, that's very, very harsh. How many times have we not seen players just collide with one another after the whistle, showing a little bit of dominance, showing that they're not going to back down? And I just was not expecting that red card. But what I also wasn't expecting was the sheer ruthlessness, the will to keep going. That's awesome. That's spectacular. You think you know the game, you think you can predict what's going to happen because in Europe, there's a slight pattern. Obviously you do see comebacks, you do see 10 men um, getting results. It's not anything that's, you know, super surprising. But to see it is always magnificent. And it is rare enough that you don't see it every weekend, obviously. But again, the ruthlessness, 5-1, just here you go, take it, and we're going to run all over you, was just something that I was not expecting to see this weekend. Just complete merciless. Once the team smelled blood, they just kept going. They didn't stop. It was the perfect follow up to the first ever games that I got to see uh, on Friday. So the Saturday game just kind of blew me away because you're thinking to yourself, hey, you know what? 4-3, 2 games back to back, 7 goals each. Surely not every game is going to be like this. And the score lines that I just read out just a few minutes ago shows you that. I mean, not every team is going to have the level of talent and firepower that these big uh, teams, because that's the other thing. These are pretty historically big teams um, in Japan. Uh, fascinating watch. I cannot wait for next weekend. I will be waking up again, 5 a.m., watching Urawa Reds take on their next challenge, which, here we go. Who are they playing? They will be playing Sanfrecce. I got to figure out how you pronounce that. August 15th, 5 a.m. Hopefully it's on YouTube. Because that's the other thing. I need to figure out if there's like a YouTube schedule or if YouTube just picks them and we find out last minute what's coming down the pipeline. I'll figure it out. I'll let you guys know. My closing thoughts. So, for my first ever JLeague games, 3 JLeague games, never seen a complete JLeague game before in my life. I didn't know what to expect. Little did I know that I would get 2-4-3 games, so 7 goals each, and one 5-1 demolition. What is that? 20 goals? 20 goals, 3 games, right? 2-4-3s, that's 7, so that's 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Yeah, 20. 20 goals for my first ever J League games. I couldn't have asked for more. I am completely hooked. I will be coming back next weekend. Japanese football has sucked me right in. Guys, thank you for watching. See you soon.